Welcome everyone to the Vibe Tribe. It's nice to see everyone here tonight. We are a community of Healy people that have come together as light workers and healers and everyday people, just looking to make our lives better and help people. And our Vibe Tribe is growing like crazy. And tonight it's going to be a really fun night. We have two of our superstars who are going to be sharing their story tonight. We have Lisa and Julie that will be sharing their stories and kind of where they came from and what their vision is and why Healy and where they're going. And I'm just so proud of them. They're part of our 88 Days to Quantum Leap. And this is a group of Healy people where we're getting together and we are creating our biggest visions for the next 88 days forward. We're about a week into it now. And whether you're in this group or not, it doesn't matter. I think we can all benefit from just being inspired by everyone, by living our deepest desires. And so this weekend we got together at the Landenberg Loft. It's a place that I have in Landenberg, and it was so nice. We got together in community, and it was the first time that really I got to meet several of you in person, which was amazing. And we just did some deep meditation and we shared what our vision was and just learned more about our human design and how we operate. And we're just all here to really support each other and support each other wherever we are in our lives and whatever we want to vision forward, and to have the courage to kind of talk about what's been holding us back, and to just be there for everyone to explore where we want to go. And everyone's got a story, right? And sometimes we can kind of stay in the story and live the story, or we can move on. And the story kind of allows us to grow and becomes our medicine. And so tonight we're going to share two of our women who are going to just be vulnerable with you tonight and share their stories with us. And so I'd like to start with Lisa. If you'd like to start, Lisa, that'd be great.
All right. Yes. Thank you. Hi, everybody. It's good to see everybody tonight. And I'm happy to share kind of what brought me to Healy and a little bit of my backstory. So I heard about Healy through Kristen's Landenberg Loft Facebook group that I had been a part of for probably about 1.5 years. I'd met her in a yoga class in Kennett in early 2020, and had been following the Landenberg Loft page, and then saw that she was going to have someone on talking about someone who was a kinesthesiologist, and they were going to talk about his holistic health device. And it all just resonated with me. I was drawn to that. I'm a speech language pathologist. I work in a hospital with patients going through rehab, patients who have strokes, brain injuries. And I was familiar with microcurrent because we've used it with our stroke patients who have swallowing disorders. And I've seen how it can change in terms of, neuromuscular kind of improvement. And so that was like kind of a buzzword to me. So I was drawn in. I have had migraine headaches for probably 14 years now. And so suffering with that, I've just sought out so many different types of healing. I've obviously started out with just kind of your basic Western medicine medications. I've had massage. I've gone to a special dentist to get an appliance. I've gone to a chiropractor, all different kinds of things, but never really found what I was looking for and never really found that relief. To me, the medication, yes, that helps, but that's just a Band-Aid. That's not really getting to the core. So anyway, I joined into the call and it was Arihia presenting, and she was just magnetic. I was just drawn in, and I didn't even know that it was called Healy. So when I learned during the call that the device was called a Healy, well, that was just like a wow. And I remember Ashley, who I hadn't even met you or ever seen you before, Ashley, typed in the chat, wait, is Lisa's name really Healy? So that was just a kind of a funny aside. So I was very drawn in, and I listened to the whole call, felt just like I need to find out more. And then I reached out to Kristen soon after that and set up a time to learn more, see the Healy. She ran some scans on me, and I was just already had decided I wanted one. So I bought one about 10 days after I saw that call, tuned into the call. And I didn't really start using it. So that was in October of last year. And I didn't really start using it until December. And that was just because of timing in my life. I was going through a life coach certification. I was overwhelmed. I couldn't even think about watching any Healy videos and figure out how to turn it on or anything. So I waited until I finished all of that. And then in December, I started really diving into the Healy. So this is just, a few months ago, December of 2021. And I started tuning into these calls as much as I could and learning and just running all different programs, whatever kind of came up. It wasn't always when I had a migraine that I used it. Sometimes that was the case, but other times I just ran general scans, whatever came up as like a high percentage, I would just use that. And I can say now that it's been like 3-ish months, I guess. And I didn't even want to say this out loud. I know I said this to a few of you guys over the weekend. I didn't say this out loud because I felt like it was just everything was just going to fall apart if I said something. Actually admitted that my headaches have improved, that I've had so much relief from them, to the point that I, about a month ago, said, you know what, I'm not going to take this one medication that I've been taking twice a day for about a year, a little over a year. And it had some side effect. This is such a strange side effect as a speech therapist. And my doctor had told me about it, that one of the side effects is word finding issues, where you might be in the middle of a conversation, but then you kind of like that, the word you want to say is on the tip of your tongue, but it just doesn't come. So I slowly realized that was happening, and I hated it. And I don't think others noticed it really, but I did. So anyway, I thought, okay, I'm starting to feel better. Let me try to, let me see what it feels like to stop taking this. And I still continue to feel good. So that's now been about a month, maybe a little bit more than a month. I didn't really keep track, but I've definitely noticed that the headaches have diminished so much. And it's just very exciting. And it's like, that's the reason that brought me to the Healy. So let's see, to go a little bit backwards, just to give you more of my story. I started becoming more, going through my self-discovery and just kind of learning about myself when I started practicing yoga about 18 years ago. And that really opened my mind to just kind of looking within and kind of focusing on, trying to kind of figure out what was going on. I realized through this process, as I kind of started learning about myself and learning who I was, that for so long, I really was just totally out of touch of from all those things. I came from a place growing up that I just wasn't very supported. I, was very feeling just unworthy in general in my life. And I didn't realize that until I started really opening up and, paying attention to my feelings and just, what was going on. I really was disconnected from all of my emotions. And I was really just kind of part of this programming of, this is what you do. You're nice to people, you smile, you try to please people, you try to be perfect. Like, I feel like I was an overachiever. I was a good student. I was a good athlete. I had friends. I did all the things that you're supposed to do to be happy. But then as I slowly started really figuring out how I felt, I realized that I didn't really, maybe I really wasn't so happy, and so this whole concept programming, I guess, put me in a place that I, wasn't making good decisions in my life. making bad choices in relationships. Again, just not really in tune with who I was and what I wanted. Eventually I got married. So I'm on my second marriage right now, but my first marriage, initially, yes, we had a good connection, we were young. And then over time, we just grew apart. We weren't connecting. We weren't communicating well. And I slowly realized as I went through this process of just, learning to kind of pay attention to myself and my feelings that, I wasn't really expressing what I wanted. I wasn't fulfilled. I wasn't happy. And things just slowly started to unfold and got to a point that I could no longer hold back. And I just, as we started kind of trying to work on things in our marriage, I realized it just wasn't going to work out for me. Things weren't adding up and it just wasn't working in that direction. So I ended up just stating my truth and saying that I just needed to walk away and things needed to end. And that was really, really difficult because it wasn't a mutual decision and it was very bitter. I went through a very bitter divorce where I really had to stand up for myself and what I wanted and what I felt like I deserved. And it was like a rebirth. It was really me standing in my power saying, this is what I want and this is what I'm going to do. So that was a huge turning point in my life. Up until that point, I was a stay-at-home mom. I wasn't working in the capacity that I am now in my career. So I started doing that. It was like a dream of mine to go back to, using my degree my graduate degree that I got before I got married, and just, really going back to helping others and working with adults as a speech language pathologist. So it was absolutely amazing to me when I finally, started to get my licensing back and do my training. And I got a job that I was really happy with. And really just started focusing on helping others, figuring out what I wanted, and like what direction I wanted to go in. And it was so rewarding to see, okay, making a difference in other people. This is really what lights me up, serving others. And I felt it was just it's such a gratifying job, where people are telling you, thank you so much. You helped my mom, you helped my grandma, you helped my brother. They can now say, I love you. They can now eat, whatever it was that was different that they were working on. It was just like, okay, now this is it. This is how I want to feel. So anyway, going through this whole process during this time, of course, my migraines are continuing. And then the pandemic hits. I'm working in the hospital setting. I'm working 4 days a week, 7:30 to 4. And, things are obviously, we all know what has been going on, and things were obviously getting more and more stressful for various reasons. Our team at work was a wonderful group of women that support each other, very healthy, supportive group. But just over time, the stress of the pandemic, the stress of working in that environment, and I guess everything else going on in general just took a toll on me. And so I eventually needed to take a leave of absence from work. So this was like fall of 2020. And that was really such a great decision, because during that time I was able to really pay attention to what I wanted. I was able to get some rest. I was able to really focus on self-care. And I realized I couldn't go back. I couldn't go back to that same schedule. It was too demanding. It was too much a giving from an empty, cup kind of thing. And because it's such a giving profession, that you have to have yourself supported in order to continue to do that. So I realized I ended up going back on a per diem basis, which is what I continue to do now, which is really flexible. And it means that 1 week I could work 3 days and another week I could work 1 day, or just, it's really up to me. I didn't at that point need the benefits because I had met my husband, Ron Healy, during that time. So we got married in 2020. So things just started shifting and falling into place, Also around that time, I had been thinking about doing a life coaching certification. I've been thinking about it for several months. And then during that time off, I decided, okay, if I go back per diem, I will have time to do the life coaching course as well. So I did that. I finished that in the end of 2021, right around the time I was just telling you, December. And so, yeah, then that was right around the time that I was learning about Healy. And initially I really thought, yeah, I'd like to incorporate this in my coaching practice. So that's kind of where I am now. I want to work with women in my coaching practice that have been through a similar story as mine, women who feel stuck, women who don't really feel in tune to themselves for whatever reason, whether it's a similar background as mine or, they, have their own trauma history, but they just, they need support. And to see somebody who's already been through something similar is a good example, right? We all know that. So, and I'd love to incorporate the Healy in that practice. So I really feel like as I was looking back on everything, that it's really my migraines that really pushed this journey along. If I hadn't had that, been in that place of suffering, and I'm looking at you, Britt, if I wasn't in that place, then I wouldn't be seeking healing. And I know I'll never be fully healed, but at least I'm feeling better and I'm getting more in tune with what feels right, what doesn't feel right. And, this is a road to go along that is not as draining, and it feels more like resonating with me in terms of giving back to others, but in a way it comes from a place that's not as demanding. So yeah, I think that's everything.
It's so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing, Lisa.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Absolutely.
And it can't possibly be just your migraines. As somebody who just met you, I have seen you light up. So you are unblocking. And that's a subtle thing that Healy does that people don't realize. Like people who just start to use Healy because they're suffering, whether it's pain or sleep issues or hormonal issues or whatever the problem is. It's a subtle thing that happens over time is you're just unblocking all of these energetic blocks that you have no idea were there, emotional, mental, from, a past life or your grandparents or whatever. And it's so evident in you as you're showing up. And then like things are just flooding in for you. And it's just so exciting to see.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah. How can people find you if they wanted to?
I mean, right now, I don't have like a website all set up yet. I'm working on that, but I certainly can share email, phone number. I can put that in the chat or give it to you guys and then you can share it, whatever works.
Yeah, just put it in the chat.
Okay.
Yeah, we can put it with the video information as well.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, and I just, there's a dog barking in the background, but I just so appreciate the courage it took for you to tell your story and to kind of come up with your why and to show other women that they can do this too, that, sorry guys. And that you're doing something really amazing with it. And this type of group is all here to support you. And we're all here to witness you. And we do this with everyone. And that's what's so beautiful about it is we are all a Vibe Tribe team and we're all raising our consciousness. We're all loving up on each other and inspiring each other to be the best that they can be. So I'm so happy for you and so proud of you.
Thank you so much for your support, Kristen. I appreciate it. And you too, Ashley.
Thanks for sharing. Okay. And by the way, I'm not also Kristen M. Wister, but I'm logging in under her account. So my name is Ashley. I wish I was Kristen M. Wister. Are you kidding me?
I wish I was Ashley.
Well, let's hear Julie's story now. I'm so excited.
Oh, this is so much fun.
Julie, let me just introduce Julie real quick. So Julie, we know, Kristen and I know Julie through Kundalini yoga, which she's going to incorporate into this. But actually, that's all I'm going to say. You do the rest.
Thanks, Ashley. So unexpectedly, my almost 1-year-old is just not having a good evening. So he's joining us and hopefully we'll ride through the whole story. Yeah, so I'll sort of start how Lisa started and first talk about my path to Healy and then sort of more of the full story. I have a friend who has been using a sound wave healer for years. And she would always send me these reports and say, I need this nutrient and that thing, and I have this virus. And, and I'm like, that's really cool that she can do that. And I bet you there's got to be like a device out there that you can do that for yourself. This was probably 2 or 3 years ago. And I was Googling and I found Healy. And I'm like, I sent it to her. I sent it to my sister and I said, I don't know what this is or how you get it or what it costs. There's no information about it. But this looks cool. And then sort of forgot about it. And the pandemic came, Kundalini yoga classes obviously weren't happening in person anymore. And I lost touch essentially with Kristen and Ashley. And we all live in Landenberg, Pennsylvania, and we have a community magazine that goes around every so often, maybe every quarter or something. And there was an article in it about Kristen, and Ashley was mentioned in the article. And I'm like, oh, I need to reach back out to them. So this was this past summer. And I think I reached out probably about April. And said, I would love to connect. And Ashley was like, oh, I'm working on this new venture. And I'm like, ooh, venture. I have, a bit of a background in entrepreneurship. So that kind of excited me. I want to know more. And so we met and they told me about Healy. And I'm like, yeah, I've heard about this actually. And Kristen let me borrow hers and I used it for a little while before, taking the leap and deciding to buy my own. So it wasn't like an immediate, oh, I need to buy it. I was hemming and hawing in the price. And, but once I did buy it, it's kind of like life started speeding up, which I think happens to a lot of people once they start using it. Just like if you're, once you start a yoga practice or once you start anything that's really going to start raising your vibration, the world around you starts to change. And I was really calling in change. I just had my second child. I'd been in the same job for 8 years. And the way that the pandemic and everything was playing out at that job wasn't really sitting well with me. So I randomly got an email from a recruiter, which had never happened to me before. And, she said, would you be interested in this role that seemed totally different than what I was doing? And I said, sure. And I just kept going one interview after the other. And before you knew it, I had a job offer. And the really strange alignment was that the job offer, I was supposed to start originally the job on the same day that some mandates had started at my other job that I didn't want to be part of. And ironically, my Kundalini yoga teacher, Guru Jagat, unexpectedly passed away. So it was like all this crazy stuff was happening. And it was all just signs that I knew my life was going to start changing dramatically. And, from the positive side, that some of my dreams would start to becoming true. So yeah, I jumped ship. It was very hard to do and go into a new job with a young baby, a 3-year-old and at the time, a 2-year-old and a 6-month-old or not even. And, it was pretty rigorous and pretty rough. And I'm very, thankful that I had the Healy. I'm sure that I didn't have time to do yoga anymore. So thank goodness I had other tools. And I'm kind of just now coming up from the craziness of all of that and plugging into this community. And I'm so grateful for it. so yeah, going back to more about my like story and who I am and how I show up in this all. I was born just a seeker. I mean, from the get-go, my mom would take us to the library and I was headed straight to the supernatural section. I'm like, ghosts, witches, warlocks, Loch Ness Monster, UFOs, like give it all to me. That's all I want to know about. I want to know about anything that we're not supposed to know about or that, is unexplained. Unsolved mysteries, X-Files, you know the drill. I'm sure a lot of us are into those things. I also really got into near-death experiences. I ended up doing a research paper my junior year of high school. I studied Elizabeth Kubler-Ross's work and got really deep into the subject matter and all these testimonials about, people either going through the experience or loved ones going through it. And, life just kept marching on. I graduated from high school. I had a bunch of health issues. I had got Lyme's disease. When I was 18, I had to get my tonsils taken out, just not good stuff that now I understand this was all part of my sensitivity and had been building up for years. It's crazy. And now at 40, I'm like healthier than I was at 18. When I was 21, my brother was unexpectedly killed in a car accident. And it was in that moment when I understood why I was so interested in the near-death experiences. And I was really able to draw upon those experiences and those interests to comfort not only myself, but my family. And I also created a program. Let's talk about programming. There's all kinds of programming around us, but I sort of said, okay, something really bad happened in my family. Now I have to make sure that I don't create anything bad. Everybody's traumatized now. I need to walk the line. I need to just be a good girl, go to school, finish, get a good job. Don't create any issues. I had really wanted to go into the Peace Corps, but I didn't want to leave my family. It felt like the wrong thing to do. But of course, because I didn't follow what I wanted to do, I created all kinds of drama for myself. I ended up getting laid off from a corporate job. And it was a blessing in disguise. I was having a lot of health issues. I had been on antidepressants and Xanax for about 4 years at the time. And I knew I needed to get off all of it. I could feel it in my body. I could feel like plaques building up or something. And so I lost the job and I also enrolled in the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, thinking I was going to become a health coach. That was something that I really wanted to do. I was always interested in naturopathic medicine. But I hadn't yet really started to believe in myself for real, that I could actually do it. So I graduated, but I also took a job at a nonprofit and I was working at an apothecary and I was, taking 1 or 2 health coaching clients because that's all I could get. And I, was working all this crazy stuff. This was like my 20s. It was just totally insane. I was here, there, and everywhere, always seeking balance. And I finally decided at one point that I did want to go into the Peace Corps. That was something I was going to do. And I was still young. I didn't have a family. I didn't have a home. I didn't have a job. Why not apply? So I did, and I got in. And in 2011, I went to the Republic of Moldova, where I ultimately ended up meeting my now husband. And once we got home from Moldova, so we got married while I was there. We came back and I landed in Delaware, working for the University of Delaware. And the programming kicked in again. I could say from one perspective that I fell right into the trap of the American quote unquote dream. Get the job, get the car, get the house, get the mortgage, all that stuff that you're supposed to do. Programming had told me I was already behind in life. Also, a former friend told me that. And I really was self-conscious about it, that I hadn't achieved these things that you're supposed to achieve by a certain age. And so I just stayed at it and I let my dreams kind of just go to the wayside. I did always have a dream of becoming a mother, and that dream did finally come true after many years of trying and it not working. So I did go through a big journey of, fertility treatments and learning all about how to ultimately just go with the flow. So here I am now, and I feel like I'm at this precipice of finally embarking on my dreams of what I really came to this planet to do, to serve humanity, and to show people, we joked a little bit this week, but it's kind of like, let's pack our bags and let's go to New Earth. I want to do that. I want to escape the matrix, and I want to help other people do it too. The way we've been living is just not, I think there's a saying, that's like, being well adjusted in a sick world is not, what you want to be. We need to break down or dissolve the structures that are kind of trapping us all. But we designed the trap, and that's a beautiful thing, so that we could, find our way out of it and then show others the way too. So I'm glad to be here with you all.
Thank you. So beautiful, Julie. That's so beautiful.
Amazing.
And one thing that I was going to say in the beginning, but I kind of blanked, was Julie knows it all. Like, I could sit with Julie and just learn all the stuff that she knows. Yeah, everyone's crying, Julie. She's just a wealth of information, and I cannot wait until she's already doing it by showing up here. But I cannot wait to see what this girl does when all of her blocks are gone, because she is going to be the spiritual teacher that she looked up to so much, which, by the way, she forgot to mention. She tragically passed, but right before she did, she had a picture of herself wearing a Healy, and Julie was like, sent this to me and was like, this is a confirmation, like, I'm supposed to go down this path. So thank you, Julie.
Thank you all for witnessing.
Yeah, thank you, Julie. And it's just, I love it. I can so relate to so much of what you said, as far as wanting to break the structure and the programming that we've been raised to believe, that we have to work a certain way and do this and do that. And that's why this is such an exciting group to be in, because we can really let our dreams go wild here, and we have a vehicle to do it, and to raise our consciousness, and to shift the paradigm, and to get out of the matrix. And it attracts people like that are looking for something more in their life, looking for something bigger. And you as a young mom, being able to have more time with your children, and being able to create what kind of vacation time you want to have, versus having someone tell you the amount of time. I mean, I know that's what you said, and have more financial freedom, and whatever that looks like, you can do it. You can do it in all ways, and Healy is another way to do it. So I'm just so thrilled that you shared with us.
What's also is just a sidebar, because Julie, your dream ultimately is to do what you're doing now, but potentially in a beautiful garden, and just live, right?
The water. Yeah, I want to be by some water. I want to be growing lots of food. I want to be, have the freedom of time, and to be in control of my schedule, and, deciding from a place of empowerment and choice if I have someone else watching my children, not feeling like I have to send them to daycare. I have to outsource this whole part of motherhood because I have to, be in this job and get the benefits. And, I want to feel like things I'm doing are from a place of choice and empowerment, and yeah, an empowered choice.
Yeah. And I wanted to say that because I was just, I had a couple of clients today that, and I use, what I do professionally is I use Healy with my clients and set them up with microcurrent. And then I use my intuitive gifts to kind of supplement. Whereas before, I used my gifts and it would drain me so much. And now I can rely on Healy to do a lot of the work for me. And I can just kind of relax into what I do. But the reason I'm bringing that up was I had a client today, and for her, the memory program came up, and I wasn't planning on telling this testimony, but it goes to kind of what Julie's story is. And she's a woman, probably in her 40s, I would say. And she came to me because she had some kind of some issues, like, you know, hormonal issues, mental fog, things like that. And what comes up in the scan kind of paints a picture for me of like what's going on. And so some of the things that came up in her scan were like memory, chakras, things like that, activation. And so immediately, and she's going through these changes with her hormones and early menopause. And immediately I was like, oh, you're just not living up to your potential. Like, that's immediately it came to me. Of course, I didn't say it like that, but when I started working with her, today was the second session. And in the first one, I did the activation program was the top thing that came up for her. And she like really wants to like know what this next chapter of her life is going to be. And so I ran the activation program, and I did like some Reiki on her. And I just said out loud in the middle of it, they're telling you to remember. And I was like, okay, I don't know what that means, but that just came out. And then today when she came back, what came up for her was the memory program. And we were both like, oh my God, like you said, remember. And so I ran the memory program on her today. And immediately, I had no intentions of doing a guided journey today. I was actually pretty tired today. So I had no intentions of like thinking ahead that I was going to do a guided like journey for this girl. But the second that the program started, I was like, oh, here we go. So I did this guided journey, and I was guided to take her into her mental space and create this, her mental space as if it was like a cabin. And long story short, like at the end of it, she designed a world that looks very much like Julie's world, like the growing their own food, the garden, the getting back to weaving, having this community around, and all these people supporting each other, and like, you know, people taking care of like kids, like, but doing it joyfully. And she wanted to create like her own house, like I think it was called an earthen house. She wanted to create like a community of earthen houses. And she works, she's like an arborist, no, an orchardist. She works in orchards in like a prison system, and she wants to like free people from the prison system. Like that's another system that we were talking about. And so I'm just like, I was like, you have to do this because that's why you're here. And it's the same thing with Julie. It's the same thing with Lisa. It's the same thing with every single person on this call. And I was talking to Anna about this earlier today. I was like, I feel this intense like responsibility to like get people on board with stepping into their power, because like that's why we're here. We're not here to like just scroll through Instagram and look at other people who are like, oh wow, they're going for it. Like, no, it's you, it's us. We're doing it together. And yeah, I just wanted to share that. And here it goes again. I can feel it. I can feel the energy. I'm doing the release program right now because there's just so much energy going on right now, and it's wild. So thank you, you two. That was amazing.
It was amazing. And I'll piggyback on that. I met with someone, I had posted some pictures of all of us together at the Vibe Tribe, and someone reached out to me and said, I want to know more about the Vibe Tribe. And so she came over yesterday, and she didn't really know that it was Healy. I think I had put something in there that we all came together because of Healy. But she was really yearning for community, and she saw us in community and could feel our energy. And I don't think she's that familiar to this kind of energy world, but she was very receptive, and memory came up as well for her. It was so interesting. There's so many parallels.
Chills.
I know. And just really, I could get the sense that she's wanting something more for herself, and she hasn't cared for herself that the way that she's kind of let herself go, like in certain ways. And haven't we, I can say that for myself too. There's times when I just let part of me go. And then you think, what happened to me? Like, why did I do that? And I don't feel so good about that part of myself. But when we're in this kind of community, we just support each other, and it's so amazing. And it tickles me to death just to see how she came. And I just feel like she's going to be part of it, because it's just energy. Our energy, our frequency is rising, and we have this big heartfelt mission to be bigger, to really go for it and step up and do things that scare us. And like Lisa, you had just told your story to us on Saturday, and you were crying, and you were just like, that was a big deal for you. And we were like, go for it. And Ashley said, I think you need to tell your story Wednesday night, and you did not want to do it, right?
I was overwhelmed when Ashley said that. I was like, no way. Was my first thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
but
thank you for suggesting it.
Yeah. It was amazing though. It was so neat that the more we talked about it, the more everyone needs to when people are vulnerable, it gives them permission to be vulnerable. And we're living sometimes a hot mess of a life. But that's what being a human is, and then just stepping up anyway and just keep going. So I'm just so thrilled. Did you want to say something?
And I wanted to, me or someone else?
Yeah, no, you.
I wanted to piggyback on that, because this 88-day container that we're in, it's, even though if you were like, oh, I'm not part of it, like, we're all part of it, because it started on 2/22/22, and it's just like an energy. It's just the 88 days is kind of like a focus, like, we're going to actually use this energy. We're going to actually ride this wave where other people are just in it, and maybe things are changing a lot in their lives. I'm hearing a lot of people's lives are changing, like, around me. And so it's just like what you do with it. But I wanted to for Anna to bring, I'm going to call on you, Anna, and tell your testimonial, because I did the same thing. I did the same thing with Anna the other day. We got together, Anna, Tracy and I got together, and Anna was talking about her blocks. And I was like, I just saw what she needed to do. I was like, you need to own that. And she did it yesterday, and I was brought to tears. So will you share what you did?
Well, I mean, the energy obviously has been very transformational in the sense of moving through some of our deepest fears that are just like facing those limiting beliefs that we kind of build up to kind of protect ourselves and from being vulnerable. And you basically were like, yeah, you need to go live and talk about why you're going to start selling Healy, which to me, I had always had this like ick factor around sales, and like my background was always the marketing side and not the salesy stuff. And so because it's uncharted territory for me, it's outside of my comfort zone, which leaves me feeling vulnerable. And so, Ashley had suggested to literally go live and talk about my fear, and to talk about, my limiting beliefs around sales and stepping into something that was outside of my comfort zone. And so I did. And I ran the coach program before going live to see where my energy was, because I was literally shaking. When I say like, that's how fearful I was, which I didn't realize how much of that pent up energy I actually had not expressed and released. I was like, you best believe I had my magnet. I had my like, my grounding stones. I had everything, and I still was feeling it. And it wasn't until I vocally expressed it all and just like got it out. I could feel the energy just like lifting, and the calm and the harmony that came after that was just so amazing. And I mean, it was like moving through a stagnant wave of energy, just like lifting and then feeling that huge wave of lightness, like you released so much. But when I ran the coach program before going live, and literally it was about like, what are my, my affirmation was about abundance, financial abundance, and, figuring out what my blocks were. And one of them was that I was not expecting to come up, but I know exactly why it did, was feeling unclean or ugly, which took me to like viewing myself as like, when I had always gone live or done posts, I always had a filter, or I was wearing makeup, or I was like presenting myself in a way to society that's expected, almost that limiting belief of like, you have to show up a certain way, looking a certain way, acting a certain way in order to please and to be accepted. And so myself is like, oh, we're going like deep into this sphere. I went live without makeup, without a filter. I was just like, we're getting real, we're getting raw. I'm just like ripping the Band-Aid off. And so it felt so good after I did that. But it was interesting that the things that came up were a lot around what was that corporate identity that I had held, because I was in such a high position within the company that as a female, I was wearing pantsuits and blazers. I had my makeup done. I was in high heels. I was like 100% there to like get shit done, and like that very masculine, but like present myself as feminine, but masculine enough to be respected by the men that I was training. So it was just, I was in such this like imbalance of divine feminine, divine masculine. And this was like a big thing for me to like go on this journey and be able to express these things. But it was like so deep. It was so deep. And, running the Healy program just like is like, here you go. Here's everything that's showing up for you right now. And it was all stuff blocking me from receiving abundance. And I'll also share, right after I did that live, I had 2 people contact me that are significantly interested in Healy and what I'm doing, and are like reaching out to people that they think are interested. So know that the universe always has your back. They are always supporting you. There's so much support, and the more, there's so much strength in vulnerability. And I know that it was like the action. It was taking the action to move through that raw vulnerability that got me to a place where I'm just like, this week has been crazy. It's amazing. So yeah, wild ride.
Yeah, and you can all go to her Instagram. Is it on Facebook or just Instagram?
I think it's only on Instagram.
Okay, it's if you are on Instagram, it's at the Wild Aura, and it's like, I don't know, two posts back, it just says right on there like why I'm selling Heelys or something like that. But I was watching it, I was listening to it when I was driving to work yesterday, and I started to cry, and I just started like talking so loud. I started screaming. I was like, I am so fulfilled right now. I am so proud. I was like, yes, Yes, it was so hilarious. I was like, what are you doing? But I just was so fulfilled to be around women who are freaking going for their dreams, because like, what the hell else is there to sit around and like be bored? Like, no, like that is not why we're here. So
or be
just,
scared, right?
or be scared.
Yeah.
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 And
I,
and that's
that's
what,
worse.
yeah, and that was, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, please. I do it to you all the time.
Yeah, it was the same thing with Lisa and Julie. Like Lisa,
Yep.
you had done a post how high you felt after Saturday, when after telling your story and being vulnerable. And you did a post recognizing Anna because she had also done some energy work on you, and just it was like just a couple, like from your heart, a couple things, and all of a sudden you had people respond to it. And you didn't, from that, it was, you became magnetic, because then we kind of encouraged you to go a little further and to tell your story, and and just do it. And it's the same thing with Anna, same thing with Julie. It's just, it was amazing to witness that. And we all have it. I think, there's still pieces of me, like right now we're doing the 88 days quantum leap, and there's this 10-day social media challenge, and you have to do something live every day. And I just was like, I don't want to do this. I don't know what to talk about, just all this stupid stuff. And Megan and I are doing it. So I watched hers, and it was just like right on. And so then I did my own thing. And it's just, it doesn't matter whether someone responds right away. It's just coming from my heart. And I'm going to do it for 10 days. And if I can inspire one person, then, I'm actually doing it for me to get out of my comfort zone. And when I do, then these actions then move us forward to the next level, the next level, and the next level. So that's why it's kind of fun just to all be doing this together in some fashion. So I
Yeah.
love sharing.
I was with Anna today, and this is what I wanted. This is what I've been manifesting. I've been manifesting a community of women that I can work with. I mean, it's crazy how close it is to the manifestation of the list that I wrote a couple of years ago. But I was sitting with Anna this morning at a working session. We were drinking lattes and talking about Healy and spiritual work. And I was like, this is literally my dream life. This isn't a job. This is my life. So I decided to post about it. And I'm not like huge on social media. I'm building my business like out in, like I'm, the chiropractor's office and other doctor's offices, and in person. Like that's my design. That's what works for me. But I decided to post it anyway, because like all of you guys are doing it. So I was like, I'm going to do it too. So I posted a picture of Anna, and she was wearing her Healy. And I just said, like, I have my dream job, lattes, energy work, spiritual badasses. And somebody who I totally forgot that I even met responded and was like, what's your dream job? That sounds awesome. And I was like, what? Like, I'm trying to like tell all of like you guys how to do it. Like I don't do it on myself because I work out like in the office, but I was like so shocked. And I just like, it was just so easy to like, because they're drawn to us. That's what I'm trying to say is once you get out of your way, once you step up, exactly what Kristen said, once you raise your vibration, like it's just going to come to you. And it doesn't necessarily have to be people that are coming to you that might be interested in Healy or healing or whatever offer or service you provide. It could be the job that you want. It could be the partner that you're seeking. It could be the I don't know, the money that you're seeking, whatever it is that you want, that's going to be magnetized to you. And that's what happens when you step up. That's what happens when you raise your vibration. And that is what Healy is all about. So that was a very exciting call. Every single time I get on these calls, I'm like tired, and then now I won't be able to go to sleep. It happens every single freaking week. So does anyone have anything that they want to add or any questions?
Pepper.
I just have to give you a couple of words. Brittany had called me and she said that that you guys wanted me to look at the numerology of the Vibe Tribe and what you were going to put together. And you had two names with welcome in it or something like that. And it was not the right set of numbers, not the right formula, whatever. And so I said, can they think of something else or whatever? I'd be glad to decode it. And so Brittany said, well, what about the Vibe Tribe? And so I put that together. You guys, this is something you have to know. The numerology on that, okay, so master numbers are 11, 22, 33, 44, up to 99. And those are real big visions for humankind. And so I did the Vibe Tribe. It came to a 44. I want you to know that this is the perfect setting that so supports all of you in the biggest possible dreams and visions that you can have for mankind. You know, you're all coming together, you're all like bringing pieces in, and you're adding your little piece to the puzzle, and each one is supportive. I'm just chilling all over, and this is so what you needed to hear. I just you know, I haven't been able to share that with you guys the last couple of times because you had different things that you wanted to spotlight, and I didn't know how it was going. I'm thinking they gotta have this, they gotta have this, and so I just want you to know. And when you add 4 and 4 is 8, that's the manifesting. You can do no wrong in this group. It's just going to, you know, it's like it's so exponential that everybody who comes is a shining star. So that's just what I wanted to add. And I'm blown away by the stories, by the courage of every single one of you, and, you know, being willing to, it's kind of called fail forward, where you think your life is this mess and are you ever going to get out, and nothing is working. And it's really like, well, okay, that's fine. What did you learn? Well, I learned this and this, and I won't do this again. And you know, there is such value in taking a look back to say, you know, this didn't work in my life, and that got trashed, and my health is, you know, and all of this stuff. But as you release this, all of the good stuff is just coming out, and you're loving life, and you're feeling accepted, and you're allowing you to be, you know, this silly little wild thing that you are. And it's so excellent, and it's so new fifth dimension, and it's so fitting to the Vibe Tribe. So I just yippee.
Thank you for sharing, Pepper.
That's great.
And what she is talking about is one, that's the name of our group, but we also have created a website, the vibetribe.us, which we love. And it is there as a resource for our team. And the vision of it is to have all of us at some point spotlighted on it, like our picture or a video of us and our bio. So we can collaborate with each other. We can send people to, you know, like if I'm looking for a numerologist, obviously I'm going to Pepper. If I'm, you know, looking for someone for emotion code, I'm going to Anna, or, you know, collaborate in that way. And so we can just keep building each other up. And it's very exciting where we're going. So thank you, Pepper. Thank you, Kristen.
Yeah,
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Anna. Thank you all for being here and sharing. So amazing. If anyone has any questions, of course, ask them. We are going to that 88-day group that we're talking about from 9 until 10. We're going to go into kind of a little work session. So if you're not interested in that part, then you can hop off, or if you have a question, you can. And so we'll just like wait a couple of minutes to get that part going. And what we're going to be talking about on that call today is getting connected with our dream avatar. And what that means is, so, you know, let's just use Lisa as an example. Lisa wants to be a life coach for a specific type of person. Well, like, who is that person? Like, I just did a coaching program, an expensive coaching program before I knew about Healy. And now I know why. It was so to learn the stuff so I could teach it. But you got to know exactly who you want to work with. It's not just, you know, I'll take any clients because I want to make money. No, like you got to get specific with who you want to work with. So you can draw those people in. So the universe knows who to send to you. So thank you all for being here. If